Hello and welcome back to section 9.6. We are doing the part 2 video, so we're going to continue to factor ax squared plus bx plus c type polynomial or trinomials. So we're still working on factoring those trinomials of ax squared plus bx plus c. Now when we go to look at example number 5, example 5 is similar to what we did in the part 1 video. The only exception is now our c value is going to be negative. And you can see that right here. So it's going to be a similar process, but remember when you have a negative c value, that means that you have one positive and one negative factor. So when we go to set these up, I'm going to set them up very similar. So I'm looking for factors of 7 to go in my first spots, and then factors of -8 to go in the second two slots. So for factors of 7, I have 1 and 7, and I'm going to leave that as 1 and 7 in both of these. And then for factors of -8, this is where things can be a little more complicated, because for my -8, I could have a +1 and a -8, or a -1 and a +8. I can also go ahead and flip-flop these, and I'm just going to write a couple sets of factors here. So 1 and 7 is going to be the same. Now the nice thing is I've only got one set of factors for my A term. So for my B term, I could also have, I could do 8 and 1, or -1, or a -8 and a +1. Then I can go through and look at my 2s and 4s. So for 8, I could have a +2 and a -4, or a -2 and a +4. And then I have 2 more factors that I can look at. And those would be, so 1 and 7 stays the same. And I would have a -4 and a +2, or a +4 and a -2. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at my products and sums and see if I can get that middle term of a -26. So here I have 1 times a -8 is a -8, plus 1 times 7 is 7, and this is going to give me -1. Here I have 8 plus a -7, which is going to give me a +1. Then I have -1 times 1, which is a -1. And then here I have 8 times 7, which is 56. So this will give me a +55. And then if I go at the next one, I have a +1 plus a -56. So I have a -54. For my next set of factors, I have 1 times a -4, which is -4, plus 2 times 7, or 14. This will give me a +10. Here I have 1 times 4, which is a +4, and a -2 times 7 is going to give me a -14, which gives me -10. And down here I have 1 times 2, which is going to give me 2. And -4 times a +7 is going to give me a -28. So this here is going to give me a -26. So what that tells me then, I wanted a -26. So this right here is going to give me my factors. And that means that my 2 factors are going to be a +x minus 4 times 7x plus 2. And remember, you can FOIL those out to double check your work. Okay, and our last example for part 2 is 18x squared plus 33x minus 30. Now as soon as I look at this, the first thing I notice is I have a factor of 18 and a factor of 30. Now 18 and 30 both have a pretty hefty set of factors, and I have this -30. So that means that I'm going to have to try both the positive and the negative versions of my factors of 30. So I'm going to look to see, does 18, 33, and 30 all have something in common? Hopefully you answered that as yes. So I can factor a 3 out of all of those. And when I do, that gives me 6x squared plus 11x minus 10. Now this is going to be way easier to factor than this right here. So I just saved myself a little bit of work. So remember, when we go ahead and come up with our factors now, I'm going to keep that 3 up front, and I'm looking for factors of 6. So factors of 6 are going to be 1 and 6. And I'm going to do another one with 1 and 6. And to be honest with you, this is where things could get a little lengthy. We could go 3. I know I'm going to have another 6 and 1 if I have to reverse those first set of factors around. The more you do of these, the better you'll get at kind of predicting what the factors will be. But we'll go ahead and continue anyways. So if I use my first set of factors, I have 1 and 6, like we said, for the A term. Now for the C term, I have a negative 10. So again, with 10, you have positive and negative values. So we can run through and we can do a positive 1 and a negative 10, a negative 1 and a positive 10. We can do 10 and negative 1, positive 10, and, oops, sorry, it should be negative 10 and positive 1. And then we can go ahead and we can do the same set. I'm just going to list these out here first in a moment, but my factors, I can use 2 and 3 for 6, and for 10 I can use 5 and 2. So let me list those out real quick. So here I listed out the rest of them, and I'm just going to go ahead and work through these real quick. So if I do my outside terms, this gives me negative 10 plus a positive 6, which is a negative 4, not what I wanted. Outside gives me 10, inside's going to give me a negative 6, which will give me a positive 4. So outside is negative 1, inside is 60. This is definitely not going to give me that 11 that I've been looking for up here, because this is this is a positive 59. Then I have 1 times 1 is a positive 1. Negative 10 times 6 is a negative 60. So now I have a negative 59. My outside term here will give me a negative 4. Inside will give me a positive 15. And here I actually get my 11x, which is what I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. And I see that my factors then are going to be 3 times 2x plus 5 times 3x minus 2. And this right here is my final set of factors. Please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day.